Good afternoon. On behalf of Colonel Christopher Williams, Commander of the 100th Missile Defense Brigade, ground-based mid-course defense, welcome to the change of responsibility for Headquarters and Headquarters Battery, 100th Missile Defense Brigade. During today's ceremony, Sergeant Major Christensen will be honored as he relinquishes responsibility of Headquarters and Headquarters Battery, First Sergeant to First Sergeant First Class Eugene Patton. Officiating today's ceremony is Captain Ryan Thompson, Commander of Headquarters and Headquarters Battery, 100th Missile Defense Brigade. My name is Specialist Holly Murr, and I am honored to be your Master of Ceremonies today. We wish to extend a warm welcome to Sergeant Major Christensen's wife, Sasha, and family, as well as Sergeant First Class Patton's wife, Allison, and his family. We are also honored to have the following distinguished visitor for today's ceremony: Command Sergeant Major Jeffrey Coker, Command Sergeant Major, 100th Missile Defense Brigade. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation by Chaplain Nagel.
Sergeant Major Christensen, congratulations to you during this season of leadership and to your family. Thank you for stepping forward. We lean heavily upon NCOs for taking care of our troops. Sergeant Patton, when I heard that you were taking leadership of this unit, I was tickled to come down as a chaplain. You and I spent a little time together in Vermont, and I remember the young kids thinking we were the old guys showing up to tie knots in Ruck Mountains. When you received the honor graduate of that course, I knew you were a special soldier and a great leader. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of living in this great land and the opportunity of serving in the greatest armed force ever assembled in human history. We contemplate the significant nature of this event as we witness the orderly transfer of responsibility between Sergeant Major Christensen and Sergeant First Class Patton. We thank you for the selfless service Sergeant Major Christensen has given to this important leadership position within the 100th Ground Missile Defense Brigade. We ask your special blessings on Sergeant Major Christensen and his family as he prepares to pass the colors and transition to a new leadership role. Please guide Sergeant First Class Patton as he assumes this important responsibility. Direct his steps and give him wisdom to meet the ever-changing uncertainties of the future. Bless him and his entire family as he seeks to serve the soldiers and families under his care. Help him maintain balance between work, his own family, and self-care. May he be a consistent example of personal integrity and servant leadership. Grant these things that together we might continue to make a solid contribution to the stability of peace in our communities, state, nation, and world. For our good and your glory. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Nagel. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Today, Sergeant Major Jeremy Christensen will turn over the duties of First Sergeant of the Headquarters and Headquarters Battery to Sergeant First Class Eugene Patton. Officiating today's ceremony is Captain Ryan Thompson, the Commander of Headquarters and Headquarters Battery, 100th Missile Defense Brigade. Captain Ryan Thompson, commander of HHB 100th Missile Defense Brigade, will now oversee the transfer of responsibility. The change of responsibility is a simple yet traditional event that is rich with symbolism and heritage. The key to the ceremony is the passing of the colors. The transfer of the company guidon is significant in many ways. The history, traditions, and accomplishments of HHB 100th Missile Defense Brigade are embodied in it. With the transfer, the unit's legacy is passed as a building block for future performance and achievement. Historically, the flag or colors of a unit served as the point around which the soldiers of the organization rallied as they moved forward into battle. The colors have traditionally been at the side of the commander and were carried forward even when the commander fell in combat. All others may perish, but the colors live on. The guidon is an extension of the unit colors to the company level. With the transfer of the guidon here today goes the transfer of responsibility for the accomplishment of HHB 100th Missile Defense Brigade's mission and the welfare of the troops. At this time, Captain Thompson joins Sergeant Major Christensen and Sergeant First Class Patton for the passing of the company guidon. The platoon sergeant passes the guidon to Sergeant Major Christensen in final deference to his authority and leadership. Sergeant Major Christensen passes the guidon to Captain Thompson, signifying the relinquishing of his duties and gratitude for the opportunity to care for HHB's fine soldiers. Captain Thompson passes the guidon to Sergeant First Class Patton, delegating authority and entrusting him with the responsibility and care of the unit. Sergeant First Class Patton passes the guidon back to the platoon sergeant and the guidon bearer, symbolizing his dedication to the soldiers of HHB and the continuity of the NCO support channel. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Ryan Thompson, Commander, HHB 100th Missile Defense Brigade.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say thank you, everybody, for being here, especially Command Sergeant Major Coker. Thank you for being here, members of the brigade. And a special welcome to Sergeant Major Christensen's family and Sergeant First Class Patton's family. Thank you guys for being here. I know this day means a lot to them, and I'm really glad that we could all come together for these two, especially during these turbulent times. The very first person I would like to acknowledge today is Command Sergeant Major Christensen's wife, Sasha. I've heard a lot of people refer to the balancing act that you have to do between the office and home as being a juggling act. But a lot of times when you're in a command position, 100% of your attention needs to be on the office, it needs to be on a soldier, or it needs to be on that soldier's family. And during those times when his focus had to be 100%, your focus had to then turn to be 100% onto everything else, to making sure nothing dropped behind the scenes. And everybody knows that that was you that stepped up either behind the scenes or on the main stage to make sure that nothing fell and hit the ground. And 3.5 years is a long time to ask any soldier to be in a command position and ask their families to make that sacrifice. And you were there for every single day of it, and I would like to say thank you personally from me. And now on to the man himself, legend in his own time, Command Sergeant Major Christensen. I knew as soon as I took command that I would be the one of the 5 HHB commanders that you served with to be the one to receive that guidon from you today and pass it to your successor. I wanted to take full advantage of the time that I had with you, learn as much as I possibly could from a seasoned first sergeant that had been through the trenches. As it turns out, I had about 10 days worth of his time and 2 of those days were over a weekend. So that plan fell to the ground pretty quickly. Once again, though, you stepped up. You did more than that was required, and you made sure that HHB was successful in the 9-month gap that we've had between first sergeants. That success does not happen without you in the background, without your guiding hand on our NCOs, making sure that things happen the way that they were supposed to happen. And that is a true testament to your character. I can stand here and I can reference all day about the amazing successes that you've had on paper from the 9 best warrior competitions that you oversaw, training plans that you executed, everything that you did as far as command inspections and SATBs that really made HHB look like rock stars, right? We can talk about that all day, but really it's the soldiers that you mentored, the soldiers that you put on the path to success, the guidance that you gave them, and the way that you inspired them that will be remembered. The way that you made them feel and how they knew no matter what the road ahead looked like, they had a first sergeant standing next to them with his boots laced up and his rucksack on, ready to do that journey right next to them. Because of you, we have NCOs that are trained, confident, tactically and technically proficient, and ready to assume positions of greater responsibility, whether that's here in the 100th or anywhere throughout the Army as a whole. That dedication to soldier care and NCO development is why you will be remembered as one of the best first sergeants to carry that guide on. Sergeant First Class Patton comes to the role of first sergeant on the verge of finishing his master's degree. He has 17 years of experience with 2 deployments. And not only is he a member of the Sergeant Audie Murphy Club, he's also the president of the Pikes Peak chapter. For anyone that's had the opportunity to work with him before, they know not only is he extremely smart and capable NCO, but he's been our go-to guy anytime something needed to get done. So it's only natural that our go-to guy now is the man in the seat, ready to take those reins. And I know you're going to do great things as first sergeant. I'd also like to take this time to welcome Allison to the team. You're no stranger to Army life or the sacrifices that your husband is going to have to make as first sergeant. And your dedication to the unit has already been displayed when the call came out for military independent searches to come out. You answered the call and you were there, shoulder to shoulder with the rest of us. And that meant a lot to me personally. Thank you. So in closing, I would just like to thank Sergeant Major Christensen one more time for your tireless dedication to our brigade and its soldiers. And I would also like to challenge Sergeant First Class Patton to keep to those standards set by your predecessor, not only to meet the requirements of our higher headquarters, but more importantly, to invest the time in our soldiers now to make sure they are successful here and in any future assignments that they may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, the outgoing First Sergeant, Sergeant Major Jeremy Christensen.
All right, so last time I prepared a speech for when I got promoted to Sergeant Major, and it went on for 15 minutes. So this time I didn't really prepare a speech at all, so I just hit bullet points to keep it short and sweet. I want to thank Sergeant Major Coker, for the mentorship and guidance, and thank you for your presence today. Appreciate it. Captain Nego, appreciate you coming out today and giving us your blessing. And the families, Allison, Sasha, thank you. You guys are truly the backbone of any of this organization. We don't operate without you guys. So I think everybody knows that you're never behind us. You're always beside us, right? I mean, you are there through the hard days and all the difficult times when you're sitting there trying to figure out reasoning on what to do with situations when you can't talk to soldiers. Sometimes your command team or your mentorship isn't there to lean on. And so the one person you find is your wife, your significant other, to sit there and be your balance on some of these. And, as you said, sir, I mean, absolutely couldn't do it without him. I mean, my wife has been my backbone. She's been my guidance, and she's also been my, when it comes down to it at the end of the day, my voice of reasoning. When I'm sitting there and I'm I'm thinking scorched earth and all these other things, right? And she comes in, and I start talking to her about the reasoning and the why and what. Her being a prior NCO is very nice to have another NCO to talk with and get that feedback. So Sasha, thank you. I really very much appreciate you. Not only for that, but just for our, if you guys all don't know, we have our own company. So when I get done with command during the day and I go home, I start we got another command. We fall in and do it all over again. So kids, you guys have all been a blessing. You've taught me a lot of life lessons along the way. And you've taught me to be, out of everything, is to be very patient. And realistically, that is something that's developed over time, and it really pays off dividends when you think about stuff before just reacting. So I just want to thank you for that. Sir, I know we only spent 10 days together, but damn, it was a damn good 10 days. But in a realization, in my absence, as far as moving on to the Sergeant Major, I did absolutely everything I could in my power to help, do things behind the door. But I couldn't have done it without, I got to recognize Sergeant First Class Harrison stepped in to be that first sergeant role for that 9 months. And man, brother, you did awesome. And I appreciate the time that you've done in there. You've really, not only have, we provide guidance and we've done this, but training schedules and DTMS and CIs and sending guys to school and fighting a good fight, that just wasn't me. I mean, I might have gave you some guidance, but you definitely executed with authority, and you did a damn good job doing it. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. And you moving forward onto your next assignment here, I'm sure you're going to do well and carry the torch forward. That being said, Allison, you're going to have some late nights and some early mornings, and hopefully you're not 3.5 years in like I was, because yes, it does take a toll after a while, but you're his rock, and he's going to rely a lot on you. So welcome to the team. It's nothing new to you, but I look forward to being under you guys' command leadership and working with you guys as the future goes forward. So Chip, man, you are the gap filler, my friend. You have done everything this organization's asked you to do, and that's the reason why you're here today. I mean, you not only have you done what we've asked and things, you've taken on every hard challenge, i.e. the grenade range. Nobody wants the damn grenade range. And I just remember the look on your face. It was a moment, like a quick pause, and you're like, all right, like, let's do it. And I was like, well, there wasn't much of an option, but you know what? It was like, but I couldn't think of anybody else to just take on any of those responsibilities. You've done amazing with the Sergeant Audie Murphy piece. We've helped develop soldiers, and you've developed and had Sergeant Audie Murphy candidates and board winners that have been here since your presence here. So awesome. And then just to know all the best warrior stuff, the things that you bring in for the training management, and what you're going to take the company or the battery forward to do, is you're the right guy at the right time. I think you'll meet all the expectations and probably take us to places that we've never been before. So I look forward to seeing that. I look forward to seeing how you adapt the battery to the Mountain Strong concept and where we go with that. And I'll be here and be available to you and anything you need during your command time. So on that note, Mr. 7 signing out.
Thank you, Sergeant Major Christensen. Ladies and gentlemen, the First Sergeant of Headquarters and Headquarters Battery, 100th Missile Defense Brigade, Sergeant First Class Eugene Patton.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming out, especially during these crazy times we got going on right now. Command Sergeant Major Coker, I appreciate you being here in your condition and everything. Chaplain Nagel, I was glad to hear you were coming down. Other members of the 100th, 1st Space Brigade, I appreciate you guys being here. The Christensen family, my family, none of this would be happening without any of you. So I appreciate you being here. It's kind of weird. When I first came to the unit, I had no idea what this unit actually stood for. I had always heard about the 100th. They were always kind of this closet place. You know, the 100th is down in the Springs. We don't know what they do. But over the last 2 years, working as a senior intel sergeant, getting qualified on the system, I truly understand the criticality of this unit, and I'm proud to be accepted by the command to take on this role. I look forward to taking care of the morale and welfare of all of our soldiers, and I take that very seriously. That role means a lot to me. Ever since I became AGR, I've always served my soldiers, and this is one more step in which I can do that for them. Because we are video recording, I would like to say thank you to all the family, friends, and fellow soldiers that I've served with throughout the years. Each of you have played a role in my career and life, and unfortunately at this time, they all can't be invited, so I just want to make sure they know that. Sergeant Major Christensen, I appreciate what you did as Battery First Sergeant. You're always there for me. You always guided me, mentored me, and that meant a lot to me. You helped shape where my career path was going. Sergeant First Class Harrison, I appreciate you stepping into the role as Acting First Sergeant this entire time. The last 9 months, it's all been on your shoulders. You handed me a good product, and we'll continue to work together until I see you on your way out the door. I'd like to thank my wife, Allison. She's always been there right next to me through all the hardships, trials, turmoils, 4 o'clock in the morning wake-ups, 2 o'clock in the morning wake-ups, all the fun. And thank you in advance for all the fun we're about ready to have as a First Sergeant. So that'll just add to the chaos a little more. I'd like to thank all my kids that have made it here today, and then all the ones that couldn't make it. You guys go through the same hardships as being in the military family, so when I deploy or when I'm required to go to schools, you guys had to step up and help out your mom during those times. And then finally, I would like to recognize my dad. He retired as a E7 Michigan National Guard after 22 years. If it wasn't for him, the example he set, I wouldn't be standing here. I joined when I was 28, and only after I see him in a picture next to one of his tanks, I was like, you know, if I'm going to do this, I better do it now. Getting kind of rusty. But other than that, I'd like to thank you all for being here today, dealing with the circumstances we're dealing with right now, and I appreciate it. And I look forward to being your guys' First Sergeant.
Thank you, First Sergeant Patton. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the benediction.
Let's close this special ceremony with a blessing. And now, Father, confirm this assumption of responsibility with the support of all of our organizational members and your blessing. Continually remind us of our responsibility to hold forth the principles of liberty and the rule of law that have enabled this experiment in democracy to endure. We don't want to take that for granted, Father. May we remain devoted to the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, dedicated to the deterrence of evil in whatever form it may take, as we defend our state and federal constitutions against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Nagel. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please join Captain Thompson in congratulating Sergeant First Class Patton and Sergeant Major Christensen and their families. On behalf of Colonel Williams, Captain Thompson, Headquarters and Headquarters Battery, 100th Missile Defense Brigade, Sergeant First Class Patton, Sergeant Major Christensen, and their families, thank you for attending today's ceremony. Thank you and safe travels.